What's the thing about classrooms you didn't appreciate until you left? I'm sitting in my tiny apartment working my third 12-hour shift this week at a job I hate, and I get a text from my little brother complaining about having to sit through a boring history lecture, and I literally laugh out loud because I would give anything to go back to a time when my biggest problem was being bored for 50 minutes while someone else was responsible for teaching me things instead of me figuring out everything on my own. The thing is, when I was in school I spent every day watching the clock waiting for class to end so I could go home and do nothing, and I complained constantly about homework and tests and having to show up at 8 a.m., and I genuinely believed that real life would be better than the structured routine of classrooms and assignments with clear deadlines. I remember senior year when my English teacher Mr. Roberts kept us after class to talk about college and careers, and I was so annoyed because I just wanted to leave and meet my friends, and he said, "You're going to miss having a place where people care about your growth more than your productivity." And I nodded like I understood, but I had no idea what he meant. Now I'm 3 years out of college working 60 hours a week just to pay rent and student loans, and nobody cares if I'm learning or growing, they just care if I'm meeting quotas. And I realized that classrooms were this weird protected bubble where mistakes were literally called learning opportunities instead of grounds for getting fired. My brother texts back, "When does it get better?" And I want to tell him it doesn't really get better, it just gets different. But instead I say, "Appreciate it while you're there, man." And he responds with an eye roll emoji, and I remember being that dismissive about advice from older people who try to tell me the same thing. I think about texting Mr. Roberts to say thank you for caring about more than just test scores. And I realized the thing about classrooms I didn't appreciate until I left was that they were the last place in my life where someone's job was literally to invest in my potential without expecting immediate returns. And once you leave that system, you're just another worker trying to prove your value every single day. And nobody's checking in to make sure you're okay or growing or learning, they just want to know if you finished your tasks.